This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Bumper to Bumper Radio on another beautiful Saturday morning and nice and cool today. I am Matt Allen. Dave Riccio is off today, enjoying some time with the family in this nice weather. So I figured I'd cover the program today, and I got a little help. I've got Tim Nelson and Pasquel Adcock from Virginia Auto Service in to help carry the conversation and help you answer any questions you might have with your car. So, as always, we're here at 11 o'clock. And again, this show is about you. It's to help you with your car. And it doesn't matter if you need a repair, maybe think you need a repair, you're buying a car, selling a car, just need some advice. Please feel free to call in, ask us a question, and you can do that at 602-277-5827. It's 602-277-KTAR. And if you're a little shy and you want to text, we can also do that by texting us at 411-923. I want to get one thing out of the way real quick. I'm not going to sing, but I'm going to tell Pasquel happy birthday. He's shy. He's sitting here, but he had some he got a birthday song sung in Spanish yesterday. He had one in Japanese at the sushi joint last night. So you get the worldwide birthday. So that's good. So again, happy birthday, Pasquel.
Happy birthday, Pasquel.
He'll sit quietly. So one of our questions today is belts and hoses. We hear people talking, you need hoses on your car, they need belts and cooling system maintenance. This is the time of year where people are not really thinking about their radiator or their cooling system. We call it cooling system, and everybody in Arizona, I think, is focused on that part of their car during the summertime. And I think in the wintertime it gets neglected. Now, our friends back east and in the northeast, maybe northwest, in certain parts of the Midwest where it's cold right now, this is the time of year when they start thinking about radiators. Cooling system services, and they're not like they used to be. I mean, Tim, remember cars of the 70s, 80s, and even some of the 90s where you were getting the belts and hoses replaced every couple years. Maybe you got a cooling system flush every single winter. I mean, you remember that?
Yeah, but now it's on a longer interval. Hoses may be 100,000 miles, and maybe you do it in conjunction if you have a car with a timing belt. So it's much different than the cars from the 70s and the 80s.
Yeah, and I think this is one thing where the hoses are. I think they're over-serviced, and that's why we asked: are you getting hosed at the repair shop? And so this week in the shop, I know we had a couple instances where the check engine light's on. We had some tire pressure monitoring lights. Those are one thing that come on during this time of year oftentimes. But the other one is the check engine light comes on, and there's a pretty common code. I think one of them was 125. You were saying 128.
Yeah, P0128.
Yeah, and what that is, that's the computer recognizing that the cooling system on the car has not got up to operating temperature fast enough to go into closed loop operation. And what closed loop operation is the computer's ability to fully control the fuel delivery in the optimal manner for emissions control and the best drivability of that car. So that's the engine coolant temperature has a lot of authority in that arena, along with the oxygen sensor and multiple other sensors in the car. But when a car's cold, it's kind of like they don't have chokes anymore. So they rely on the computer to tell you the car is cold, and it's going to deliver more fuel, because that's what happened when you had a carbureted car with a choke. It's going to cut off the air, which in turn gives you more fuel. So if you have those lights coming on in the car, some of the other symptoms, or maybe one of the other symptoms of the car not getting hot enough, or that it's not getting to operating temperature, is your heater may not work very well, fast enough. Some cars have a blue light on the dash. I first noticed one on our shop Scion. Did you ever remember driving that when we first got it, Tim? We're all like,
What's the blue light for?
What is this? It's not the blue light special. It's saying that the car is still cold. You don't want to have a cold car for very long. These cars need to get up to operating temperature very fast. So that's something to think about if your heater doesn't seem to be working well. The other problem there, we talked about emissions, and if the car is not properly controlling the fuel system, you're going to be wasting gas, extra pollutants. And not only when you're wasting gas and causing extra pollution, but the extra fuel in the system is diluting the oil in some cases. It can cause engine wear. So you don't want to ignore the cooling system problems. And there's even some cases, Tim, I know we've had cars in the shop they come in with multiple codes. One of them is the engine running too cold. What's one of the other symptoms? An engine misfire?
Yeah,
maybe?
Misfire codes, exactly.
Yeah, so I mean the car's getting too much fuel in those cases. So, like I said, I think we tend to neglect the cooling systems in Phoenix. We're spoiled with all this nice weather. So it's a system that you want to have checked before you go snow skiing, before you're heading up to Colorado, Flagstaff, or anywhere where it might freeze. Tim, I mean, how often would you say in the shop we're replacing radiator hoses?
Well, like I said, one of the things that we do is that we replace them a lot of times with conjunction with another repair, but the manufacturer's all over the board on it. I mean, Gates says 8 years, 80,000 miles. Another manufacturer says every 4 years. So a lot of it is on the expertise of our technicians to look at the hoses, and they make the decision maybe if they need to be done. But when it comes to on a maintenance interval, like I said, it's all over the board. Most of the time now it's in conjunction with another repair, water pump, timing belt, something like that.
Right. And if we maybe want to try to prevent having some of those other repairs, one of the keys is doing good, proper maintenance of the cooling system. And the easiest and most inexpensive thing to do to keep the cooling system working well is to keep good, fresh antifreeze or coolant or whatever term you want to call it, keep that in the engine. And most of these manufacturers now, I mean, we saw GM, they came out with the first series of Dex-Cool back in the 90s, and they would say 100,000 miles or 10 years or something like that. And these things were just rotten globs of, we used to call it
Dex mud or
Dex-Cool death.
Yeah.
We call it.
That was a disaster.
Yeah, they were bad. So what we're doing in our shop, we're monitoring these things. And in hindsight, it wasn't the Dex-Cool that was a problem with these radiators. It was people were taking the radiator cap off, which you should never take the cap off unless there's a reason to. I mean, every time you're going into the oil change shop or into the place where you're getting your services done, you don't need to take the cap off. We want to keep the oxygen out of the system and keep that a nice sealed system. So having a good radiator cap is one thing. But we're seeing historically these cooling systems or these coolants are not lasting until 100,000 miles. I mean, that's the minimum requirement in optimal conditions. And I can tell you the Arizona summers, they're not optimal conditions.
No, not at all.
So we want to keep an eye on those, and we're cutting those down, Tim. We're cutting them in half in some cases, maybe 60% or 40% less, around the 60,000 mile mark.
Yeah, 50, 60,000 miles. I mean, if it's a timing belt motor and it's due at 60, we'll do it then. If it's a conventional timing chain motor, we'll probably do it at 50,000. But it's something that we definitely were monitoring more than, and it's not the typical every 30,000 miles anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely not. I mean, it was to get your Prestone kit and do it every year. One of the things we didn't talk about before the show, but Tim, how many different engine coolants do we have in stock?
Probably 8 or 9, because every manufacturer has a different coolant, a different color.
Yeah, and sometimes the color is just a dye. I mean, the color used to be a guideline. You had green and you had an orangish color, which was the Dex-Cool. The Toyota red coolant was just red. It was the same as the green. They just used a different color.
And now they have the pink.
And
the pink is already it comes diluted,
which is sometimes in Volkswagen, Audi, Porsche. BMW's got blue, but blue isn't the same blue in BMW. Is not the same blue in a Nissan. They have OAT or organic technologies, our HOT, hybrid organic technology. I don't even remember all the acronyms. There's so many different things. So one message is you can't rely on color. You want to use what's specific to the car. There's some shops out there, and a lot of good shops out there that are using, we call them the chameleon coolants, right? I think Prestone makes one or something. Fits everything. The manufacturers don't necessarily agree with that. So I'm going to take the manufacturer's advice and value their opinion on the quality or the kind of coolant. But based in our area, I'm going to disagree in some cases, in many cases, with how long that coolant can last. A lot like the oil change. You shouldn't be doing 10,000-mile oil changes, and I don't think you can be doing 100,000-mile cooling system services. So this is the time of year, too, with maybe you have heater problems. Again, we're always talking about cooling, heating. We're going to get a sweet smell in the car. Your nose has to be in tune with your car. So if you have that sweet smell out underneath the hood or coming out the heater vents, maybe you've got something going on with the heater core leaking or something like that. And we can talk about. Go ahead, Tim.
Or you may even have a gurgling noise sometimes in the dash.
Oh, yeah.
That's a sign of either you might be low in coolant or the thermostat isn't working properly. So if you got that, and especially that'll be like on startup, the first few minutes while the car's getting warmed up, that gurgling noise, you're wondering what that is. That's when you need to come in and see. You go to your technician and have them look at the car.
And it's low water, I think, just cycling through the heater core inside the car, which I'd say half the cars. Sometimes there's always coolant flowing, and sometimes there's not. So if you have questions about your cooling system or questions about any other system or problem on your car, give us a call at 602-277-5827. It's 602-277-KTAR.
Matt and I share car repair tips weekly to help you keep your car safely on the road, and a few of them are easy to do.
Yep, you're right, Dave. And one of the easiest is to have a dependable battery that you can trust to get you started no matter what the conditions.
Interstate batteries are what we trust at Bumper to Bumper Radio. In fact, they're what we use at our own shops for our customers.
If you're like most people, your car is one of your most valuable investments. Make sure you take care of that investment with the power necessary to get you where you need to be. Interstate batteries are America's #1 replacement brand with the factory fresh guarantee, and they're easy to find at good shops everywhere.
Cars or trucks, Interstate has you covered with long life and performance in our harsh desert climates with products like Megatron Plus. It carries a 30-month free replacement and a 6-year performance guarantee.
Interstate batteries. No battery lasts longer. Check them out at interstatebatteries.com.
It's the Good Guys 18th Southwest Nationals Car Show at Westworld of Scottsdale, November 20th to the 22nd. It's our grand finale of the year, and you won't want to miss it. Check out over 3,000 classic American hot rods, customs, muscle cars, and trucks at our giant show and shine. Don't miss the Good Guys top 12 vehicles of the year. Visit vendor exhibit, shop the swap meet, and the Auto Trader Classics Cars for Sale Corral. Plus, enjoy free fun stuff for the kids. For tickets and details, visit good-guys.com. Good Guys, full throttle family fun.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
Who can you trust here in the Valley to repair your ride? This is Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Okay, we're talking about cooling systems, radiator hoses, and maybe you heard our lead-in before the show. Are you getting hosed at the shop? And I certainly hope not, but you need to be asking questions this time of year when people are telling you about you need radiator hoses. Well, why? It's just time. You should do them because they're 4 years old, 5 years old, and I'm not buying that. I read Consumer Reports. Oh, where'd my note go? 5 years or 75,000 miles. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm driving a 2010 Tundra with 75,000 miles on it right now. I'm not putting radiator hoses on my car. I flushed the cooling system, I believe, on my truck at 60,000 miles, put the right Toyota coolant in it, and I know my hoses are not going to have a problem. So don't get into that trap at the shop of, you just need to do it because it's time. I want to get some more explanation. Now, some of those instances where maybe it is just time. You're having a new radiator put in. Tim, which, by the way, I've got Tim Nelson and Pasquel Adcock, both from Virginia Auto Service, in to help with the questions. I'm Matt Allen. Dave Riccio took a little bit of time off this week to do some soccer games and hang out with the family, which is well deserved because I've been taking some breaks too. So, but anyway, back to the cooling system. I mean, we're going to replace the radiator. There's no way that I'm going into a car today and taking the radiator out that failed, but not replacing at least the 2 radiator hoses that are the same age, right, Tim?
Oh, yeah, that's correct. That's the time you want to do it because they're off. And we might not have recommended them if you were just coming in for a regular service, but radiator's out, it failed. We're going to flush the system. We're going to put hoses on it, and maybe even a thermostat.
Yeah, I mean, because you gain access to a lot of these things. And I can put your old hoses back on. It doesn't cost any more, with the exception of the part, to put new hoses on or put your old hoses back on. We're always going to want to replace the hose clamps at the same time. So that's an instance where you might want to replace the hoses when there's just nothing wrong with them, but you had another major component in the system fail. One of the other times would be, we're going to look for symptoms. We have swelling around the hoses by the clamps, a really soft hose that's very pliable. You've got to remember these hoses rot from the inside out. So,
and then when the coolant, if the coolant does seep or leak, there'll be some signs of that coolant around that hose clamp, and that's also a sign that we look for.
Yeah, sometimes you have like a pink icicle running down the side of the engine. So we've got some very patient people waiting, and if you'd like to get in on the show, you can text us at 411-923, or if you want to call in, we can help you with a question on your car. You can do that at 602-277-5827. So we're going to go with Henry and Gilbert on his 2005 GMC. Henry, what can we help you with?
So here's the issue. I have a 2005 GMC Yukon XL. It's got 187,000 miles on it. It's been a great car. I just finished repairing the instrument gauge panel. All the gauges work fine, and my oil pressure gauge goes to 0 when it's in idle. And as soon as I hit the gas pedal, it goes back up to normal to about 38, 40 PSI. So I don't know what to do at this point.
Okay, well, when you say you just got done repairing the instrument cluster, what actually did you do to the cluster?
Well, all the gauges were working erratically. So we had them repair. All the motors were repaired for each and every one of the gauges. So they're all registering correctly. But the oil one is the only one that is not working correctly.
Okay. Well, so I'm going to assume that whoever repaired the gauges confirmed that the oil gauge is working right on the bench or did a bench test. So if that tests good on the bench, now we need to go and see, is the oil pressure gauge getting the right signal? And it's going to get that signal from the oil pressure sensor. So we can go to the sensor and we can do a test. On some cars, we can get into the computer system with the scan tool and look at the data and see what the pressure is and see if that is in proper accordance with what the gauge is reading. Otherwise, we need to pull out that oil pressure sending unit and do a mechanical test. We're going to hook up a gauge to the car, start it, and read what the mechanical pressure is. Then we're going to know, do we have an electrical problem, do we have a gauge issue, do we have a sending unit issue, or do we have a mechanical problem with the engine. So that's it's a simple test for someone that has the right equipment and knows how to do it. But you're probably going to want to verify that the engine does actually have good oil pressure. And I think in that model year of V8 Chevy engine, they had a problem with the oil pickup tube O-ring. They get hard and they get brittle and they suck air. So at idle, it may not have enough volume to get the right amount of oil and pull it out of the engine. Kind of like your straw. You ever go to Starbucks or McDonald's and you bend the straw and it cracks and you're getting all the air, but you're getting a little bit of tea or soda. Well, same thing's happening with the oil in the engine.
And then Henry, if you can, when that oil sending unit's acting up, if you can jack up the back of your car and see if that oil pressure goes to normal, then you'll know then that it's that O-ring most likely. So even if you get on an incline, that's one way that you can do something there to see if that's the problem.
Yeah, we're getting that engine on a very sharp tilt, and we're covering that oil pickup tube O-ring in the oil from the pan by making it fill over. So good question, Henry, and thanks for the call. We're going to go with Greg in Phoenix on a Crown Victoria. Greg, what can we help you with today?
Well, my son's got a 1989 Crown Victoria, and check engine's been on for quite some time, and now the motor won't start. I can spray, a carburetor cleaner in there, and I can get it to start and run. Check spark. So all those things tell me that the crank sensor is probably good. But I can't get the thing to start. We put a new battery in it.
Wait, let me back you up 1 second. Did you say it starts with spraying some carburetor cleaner or something into the intake manifold?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Well, if that's happening, it's not the battery, because the battery's cranking the engine over. It's not the crank sensor. It's not the spark plugs, because you can make the engine run by artificially fueling it. So we're missing fuel somewhere. We've got a fuel pump that's not delivering fuel. And it's either because it's got a bad pump, it could be a bad relay, and you can, if you look at a wiring diagram, you can figure out in the diagnostic connector which wire to ground, which will activate the relay and make the pump run if the pump is good. The computer is what grounds that wire based on other inputs, cranking the engine and the key position and such. So it's clear that you've got a fuel delivery issue. You've just got to find out why. So when we come back, we're taking more of your calls, and we're here to help you for another half hour. Oh, and maybe actually another minute. I had a little moment. Thanks, Quinn, for flagging me down. We've got another minute to go here. I thought we're done. So back to your fuel system problem. But if the relay and the computer are what tell that fuel pump to come on. If you look at a diagram, that's where we always have to start. When we have a problem, it's just like a roadmap. We need to know where to go. And where do we go? We have to get a map. We've got to trace down the wires. We need to have X amount of voltage at this fuel pump, and we're going to trace that back and say, how does that get there? Okay, we don't have it at point B. We're going to back up there and say, okay, what's telling this to get voltage? And that's going to be from the relay. We can short the relay. We can bypass the relay. And then we're going to check the computer to see if the computer's given the appropriate signal. And now we'll be back to help you in just a little bit. I'm Matt Allen with Tim Nelson and Pasquel Adcock.
Hi, Lisa Henry with Russ Lyon Sotheby's International Realty. Have you been thinking maybe the time is right to move, but you're not sure if you have enough equity in your home or if it really is a good time? Well, home values have increased significantly over the past few years, and interest rates are still historically low. For how long? No one knows. But for every 1% increase in the interest rate, the result is about a 10% loss in purchasing power. So it might be a really great time to sell your home and either upsize or downsize to a new home while the interest rates are still low. Contact me via my website at lisareneehenry.com or direct at 480-330-9530 for a no-obligation market valuation on your home and to hear about our global online marketing plan designed to sell your home quickly for top dollar. Again, that's lisareneehenry.com, 480-330-9530. Come experience the difference a truly customer-focused real estate agent can make.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family-owned and operated and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20+ years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
Welcome back to Bumper Radio. I'm Matt Allen, your KTAR car guy, here every Saturday to help you with your car. That's what Bumper to Bumper Radio is. And if you're looking for help with your car, not on a Saturday, you can go to bumpertobumperradio.com and find a list of just good repair shops here in the Valley. Good people, good shops that can take care of you. You're going to get good advice and good repairs there. And these are also the people, you know what, you see them at soccer practice. You see them at gymnastics or dance, whatever your kids do, maybe at church, maybe in the grocery store. So just a good community-minded group of individuals. I've got Tim Nelson from Virginia Auto Service in here to help. Pasquel came in too. He works with us at Virginia Auto, but he doesn't say anything. He just sits here. So his face is even turning red right now just talking about him. So we were talking about cooling systems to start off the show, what kind of maintenance you need, and how oftentimes in Arizona we neglect that cooling system. We're always thinking about it in the summertime, but not so much in the wintertime. And we've got a few text messages, and I wanted to talk about some of the symptoms of overheating or problems. One of the things is you always got to be in tune with your car. I mean, if you go home and your kitchen smells like rotten fish, it's probably because you didn't take the trash out, you know? So you know that. So when you're in your car and you've got some sweet smell coming out of the dash, it's not supposed to be like that. At least it's not rotten fish. In some cases, it might be if something's coming out the tailpipe or a rotten egg smell, you might have another issue. But if you've got a smell from underneath the car or coming out from underneath from the dashboard, that's a sign that you have a problem. You know, that low coolant light that comes on, it's not Christmas. It's just not there to light up and be a nice, pretty light. That means we have a problem. Sometimes you're going to lose some coolant through evaporation, but not often. So if you put some coolant in, and then the light comes on a week later, we have a problem.
Or sometimes you'll even get some steam coming out of your vents.
Oh, yeah.
That's another thing. And that's not just because there's steam coming. It's not an oven or a stove, but
yeah. So you shouldn't have that. And maybe you're not going to necessarily see steam, but you're going to see the windshield fogging up a bit. A car running hot. A gentleman sent in a text, and we don't see this as much, but there is a lot of cars that have plastic impellers on the water pump. And can you imagine a boat? You put it in the water, and they don't have a prop on it, and you throttle the thing up, it's not going to go anywhere. Same thing on your car. These plastic impellers, they come loose on the water pump shaft, and that thing can spin all at once. If it's not moving that impeller, it's not going to move water. And a symptom there might be the car overheating really fast. More and more and more, we're seeing cars with plastic parts, or composite, intake manifolds, thermostat housings, radiator tanks, connections and elbows on radiator hoses where they connect. Tim, can you think of anything else?
Then the expansion tank too. Those pressurized ones now. I see a lot of problems with those where they get hot, they expand, they start to leak. That's a big issue.
Yeah, I mean a plastic part can only blow up and expand and contract so many times. And then you introduce heat, that plastic is going to start to fatigue. So when you're looking at those, they usually start off life clear. Some of them are solid black. Some of them are clear and black. But when there's something used to be clear and white and now it's turned yellow and you start to see white cracks through it, maybe it's time to be a little proactive so you don't get stuck. So if you have questions, you want to get in on the show or we can help you with anything, you can do that at 602-277-5827. We're going to go with Sam in Phoenix. He's got a 2001 Honda. Sam, I hope I pushed the right button. What can we help you with?
Hi, I just I sent you a text. I don't know if you saw it, but the cooling fan, the whole assembly and the motor, it melted. What would cause that?
Well, when you say it melted, did it melt where the connector is?
No, where the motor was connected to the fan. The fan got so hot it melted everything that it was holding on to.
Well,
this is not my car.
So
I wouldn't let that happen.
So where the fan blade attaches to the motor shaft, it was melted?
Yes, and the motor just fell loose.
I think melting is probably the symptom, and I guess the car overheated. That's how somebody started looking at this, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what Sam is talking about is the radiator fans on the front side of the car. If your car has a transverse engine, meaning sideways, and it does not have a belt-driven fan, it's going to have an electric radiator fan. And the system relies on a series of sensors and relays to make those fans come on and off at a certain time. I suspect probably what happened is where the plastic fan blade pushes over the shaft of the fan motor, it probably started to crack or probably started to wear out the splines. And I'm guessing that the fan motor shaft was just spinning inside of there and maybe caused that to, just that friction there caused that to melt. It's possible something, got sucked into the fan off the road. Maybe we see bags and different kind of debris sometimes and cause that. I guess I'd start with putting a fan blade or fan motor assembly on it, and then you're going to want to test, make sure it's not drawing excessive amps or anything like that. But I'd have to guess that that's the problem. We'd have to do a little forensics, do an autopsy on that fan to see if we could figure out why. So thanks for the call, Sam. We're going to go with Joe. Joe's got a 1998 Chevy S10 pickup in Sun City. Joe, how can we help you?
Hi, I've got a question. I've got the same problem that Henry had previously about the low oil pressure when I'm idling. And to get rid of that, I have to rev up the engine. Say I'm stopped by a light, I'll put it in neutral, rev up the engine, it goes back up to 40. As soon as I took my foot off the gas, it goes back to 0. And I was wondering, will it hurt my engine if I didn't rev it up while I'm waiting for the light to change?
Well, I mean, that's Joe, that's going to be a different engine than what Henry had in his Tahoe. And it goes back to the same question. Do we have a mechanical failure with the engine? I mean, do we have an engine or an oil pump that is not producing enough pressure? Or do we have a gauge, sending unit, or something else lying to us or not giving us accurate information? So again, same thing for you. We need to go in and we need to do an oil pressure test with a mechanical gauge, and there's specifications. All shops have catalogs and books, or All Data or Mitchell or information resources where they can get the specification. And there's going to be a warm-up pattern or a cycle where maybe cold or through a heat cycle at idle and at maybe 1,500 or 2,000 RPMs. There's going to be various pressures of oil that engine should be producing, and that's what we need to find out. Now, if we go and we find out that you don't have adequate oil pressure, now the question is, can we fix that engine before it totally dies on us by maybe replacing the oil pump or making sure the screen is not plugged up, or we don't have an O-ring failure where the oil pickup tube goes to the oil pump? If there's a simple fix, well then maybe we probably ought to fix it before we destroy the engine. However, if we have low oil pressure because you simply just have a worn-out engine, well, maybe we make a decision to just run the engine till it blows up, because no harm, no foul. I mean, if you've got to replace the engine or rebuild the engine, chances are we're not rebuilding yours. We're going to buy a remanufactured engine, so it really doesn't matter. You're gonna start to get a knocking noise in the engine if you have a failure. Tim, you were going to...
Well, yeah, but it could also be something we find out that the mechanical oil pressure is good, and we check and sweep the gauges, and the gauges are good, and you may just have a oil pressure sending unit issue. Yeah. Which would be the best case scenario for you, because that would be the least expensive.
And chances are, too, Tim, I think this is the way we do it at our shop most of the time. I'm not involved with every one of these repairs. We pull the oil pressure sending unit out to do the mechanical test of the engine. The mechanical test of the engine is good. It's one of those cases like the radiator hoses. We have to put an oil pressure sending unit back in it. We can put your old one back in, or we can put a new one in for $20, $30, $40, $50, whatever it is, depending on the car. Maybe it's going to take care of it. We don't, I hate to spend $50 testing the circuit to tell you the circuit's good. Now you need a $50 sensor. Might as well just put a new sensor in, assuming the mechanical is good, and then everything's fine. Now, if we don't do that and your gauge is still reading wrong, but we know that we have good mechanical oil pressure, well, then maybe you make the decision not to fix your gauge because you're pretty confident with the facts that we just gave you that the engine's good and chances are it will stay good. So then you'll just have to make that decision. But will it hurt your engine if you don't rev it? Over the longer period of time, it will. And if that pump is failing or the bearings are worn, it's going to start to happen at a higher RPM and a higher RPM, and eventually at all times you're going to lose oil pressure if in fact you have a mechanical problem. So Joe, thanks for the call. 602-277-5827 if we can help you with your car. And we're going to go with Greg in Phoenix on a 2010 F-150. Greg, what's going on with your truck today?
It was a spontaneous thing. I was running my air conditioning and turned it on. Went to the store, came back out, turned it on, and it started idling really rough. And so I turned the air conditioning off, and it idled perfectly. And when I'm driving with the AC on, it doesn't sputter, it doesn't have any loss of power or anything, but when I am driving with the AC on and then we come to a light and the idle, it idles really rough.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I got 117,000 miles on the truck, so I haven't changed the plug yet, but I just can't believe that the plug would be doing that. I don't have any error codes or anything.
Well, I'm thinking two different things, and you talked about the air conditioner coming on and doing it idle. I guess you could have a misfire. 117,000 miles on those spark plugs. It sounds to me like they're 17,000 miles past due. The computer has to sense a certain number of pre-programmed misfires within a certain period of time. And I'm just going to make up a number. If it's 100 misfires per however many revolutions, per 1,000 revolutions, and you're at 99, well, you're just not enough to trigger the light yet. So you could start by replacing the spark plugs, but that might be one of those engines where the spark plugs are tough to get out. They sometimes take the threads out of the cylinder head with them. So prior to doing that, I might run some Techron, or some BG makes a product called 44K that you can get, or some other engine decarbon problems, a professional strength engine decarbon before you change the spark plugs. But the other thing I'm thinking is maybe, Tim, he's got a compressor that's getting ready to fail. That compressor's seizing. In that idle, it's bogging down or slowing the engine. Could make it feel a little bit rough. You rev the engine, get to a higher speed. It's producing enough power to overcome that extra drag on the compressor. Could be the problem, not likely. Usually that compressor, you're nodding your head, Tim. Those compressors are making noise and carrying on, right?
Yeah, and then Greg, you said that it just happened all of a sudden. Like everything was fine, and then all of a sudden it started running rough only at idle with the AC on. Is that correct?
He's not on anymore, Tim. Yeah, but that's what he said. It was just all of a sudden, it was a spontaneous thing. It just happened. So I mean, it's over the radio, over the phone. It's going to be tough to say. What you really need to do is you need to get it into a shop. Go to bumper-to-bumperradio.com. If you don't have a shop that you normally work with, if you have one, go to your guys, tell them what's going on, take them good information, and I'm sure they'll help you right through the problem. I don't think it'll be too difficult to find. So 602-277-5827 if we can help you with your car. I'm Matt Allen, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
Ouch! Being out of tune is no fun, and maybe even a little painful. Hi, this is Lee Weatherby, owner of Accurate Automotive in Mesa. At Accurate, we are a family-owned and operated one-stop automotive repair shop that specializes in building long-term relationships that are in tune with your needs, not ours. We've been recognized nationally as one of the top shops in the country, but for over 20 years, our priority has stayed focused on providing quality automotive service and repair at a fair price. I invite you to come in and see the difference an in-tune relationship can make for you and your car. With our free courtesy inspection, a $49 value, we feel it is well worth our investment in you because we believe good long-term relationships start early with your first walk through our doors. Accurate Automotive, home of friends serving friends, just off Broadway and Robson in Mesa since 1992. For more information, check us out online at accurateautomotiveaz.com today.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20-plus years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
This is Bumper to Bumper Radio, KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Welcome back to Bumper Radio. I'm Matt Allen, your KTAR car guy today. Dave Riccio decided to take the day off and enjoy this nice weather that I'm going to get to pretty soon. And so coming up on the winter. I mean, we don't have much of a winter here in Phoenix, but we go skiing, we go to Flagstaff, we go play in the snow, we go up to Colorado, Santa Fe maybe, all kinds of places where it's cold. So you want to take care of your car's radiator or cooling system. And we always talk about cooling system in the context of summer, but we need to think about it in the context of winter. And one of those things is getting that system and getting your car checked out. Well, Thanksgiving's coming, a couple weeks away already. It's the most traveled car holiday, I think, in the U.S. You're out driving. You want to make sure that your car is safe. So please don't wait till Wednesday before Thanksgiving to go in and get the oil changed to find out that we have a problem. If you've got plans to be on the road for Thanksgiving, either make a plan to get a rental car if you're not confident about your car, or make a plan now to get in your shop, have an inspection done, talk with your technician, talk with your service advisor, and make sure that your car is good for the road. Nothing will make home life more miserable than you breaking down on the side of the road or stopping in Kingman for gas or in Flagstaff or Blythe or somewhere and the car not starting or the car overheating or the heater not working or whatever. So if you have a shop, go to your shop and stick with them. But if you don't, go to bumper-to-bumper-radio.com and find one of those shops. So one of the other things I want to talk about briefly, I was up in Las Vegas Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I was actually working on Sunday and Monday with Bosch. I'm on a Bosch advisory council, and Virginia Auto Service is a Bosch service center, as well as a couple of the other bumper-to-bumper radio shops. We have Arizona Imports, Dave's Car Care are both Bosch service centers. And then some of the Bosch diesel service centers that we have on our list are ADS, Automotive Diagnostic Specialties in Chandler, Kurt's Auto Repair up on Bell Road. Those guys do diesel work and very, very good at it. And Bosch as a company, Bosch started in 1886. Robert Bosch founded the company with electronics. I think they were magnetos for Mercedes-Benz and ignition parts. And it's kind of neat to be on this council with Bosch because they are dedicated to the automotive industry. I don't believe there is a car manufactured in the world today that doesn't have a Bosch component on it. Fuel injection, diesel, electronics, alternators, relays. I mean, you name it electronically, and I bet you Bosch builds it. And not just for your car, everything else, home appliances, tools, all kinds of stuff. So it's a great company, great to be involved with them. And if you're looking for an extra little bit of credentialing, look for the Bosch Service Center sign at your bumper-to-bumper radio shops. And we've got a couple people holding on here. That we've got a very patient person, who I can't see the name there, 2013 Ford Edge calling from Phoenix. What's going on with your Ford Edge?
The heater problem. My wife turned it on the other day, and it just blew cold. It's a 39,000 miles on it.
Okay. So just cold. It sounds to me like this car is going to be under warranty. Now, when you say cold, did it blow air conditioning air, or did it just blow ambient temperature air? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I know when she turned it on, the heater, it blew air, but no hot.
No hot air. Okay.
Yeah.
And does that car have a gauge, or does it have a light? Do you know?
A light.
A temperature gauge. So, well, I mean, we've got a couple things happening. Either we have a car that's not getting hot enough, and if it's not getting hot enough, the heater is not going to work. I mean, the interior of that car relies on hot water produced by the engine to run into the interior and go through a heat exchanger or a heater core. Air is going to blow over that and give you heat. So either we have a car that's not making hot water because the thermostat is stuck open or low on coolant or something. We have a control valve that's not allowing the hot water to flow into the heat exchanger or the heater core. Or we have a blend door or a mode door, one of the other doors underneath the dash panel there that is not going to direct the air over the right component, which would be the heater core, to get heat into the car. I would be willing to bet 2013 with 39,000 miles, that car is probably under warranty.
5 years, 60,000 miles most likely.
Well, and some is 336, so some of those controls, if it's something that affects emissions like a thermostat, that would probably be under the longer warranty. So I would probably, if it's under warranty, get it back to the dealership and have them recheck that car. shouldn't be any issues like that. That car is not even due for any cooling system or heater maintenance or any repairs on that system right now. It barely even needs any type of maintenance, I would imagine. It probably got a fairly low mileage car. So I would get that in and just get it checked out. Hopefully it's under warranty, and you'll be back warm again. So thanks for the call. We're going to go with Ross in Tempe on a 2001 Ford F-150. Ross, what can we help you with?
Yeah, I got an issue that my truck is occasionally overheating, but it's not constant. It's not even, regular. It's very irregular. It's right when I start the vehicle, usually within the first few miles, I'll start to hear a kind of a high-pitched sound, and I'll look at my gauge, and my temperature will start to creep. I pull over, I stop, I turn the vehicle off, it'll cool off, and then it doesn't do it anymore.
Is the car actually really getting hot? Is it giving you any other symptom besides the gauge and the noise?
No, it really isn't. You'll smell the radiator if the radiator's overheating or something. I've had that happen on other vehicles. I don't get that. It almost to me seems like it's I don't know the cars that well, but like a thermostat issue, like the gauge is sticking somehow occasionally.
Right.
I don't know if that's possible.
And is it mostly, now if you park the car and go to work all day and it sits for 8 hours and you come back out, will it do it again? Or what happens if you drive it for a little bit, go to the grocery store or the mall?
It's not any type of regular pattern at all. It'll sit, I'll turn it on, it'll happen, I'll drive it every day for 3 days, 4 days a week, won't happen again.
Okay.
And just randomly happens again.
Well, Ross, the biggest thing, I think we're going to have to get it to a repair shop where we can get that problem to be duplicated. It will be next to impossible to fix unless we can go and find some other evidence under the hood that you have a problem. We're going to want to drive the car. We're going to want to have it happen to us. If we can identify the noise, we'll probably be able to identify the problem. And heck, you may not even have a problem. Maybe you have a gauge problem. So we really need to confirm, is this car overheating? So maybe in the meantime, take some good notes, pay attention to the frequency and the cycle of what happens prior to this happening. Take that info to your repair shop, and that'll help them get a head start on fixing it. So thanks, Quinn, for running the dials and keeping me on time. Thanks, Tim and Pasquel, for helping out, and we'll see you next week.
Matt and I share car repair tips weekly to help you keep your car safely on the road, and a few of them are easy to do.
Yep, you're right, Dave. And one of the easiest is to have a dependable battery that you can trust to get you started no matter what the conditions.
Interstate batteries are what we trust at Bumper to Bumper Radio. In fact, they're what we use at our own shops for our customers.
If you're like most people, your car is one of your most valuable investments. Make sure you take care of that investment with the power necessary to get you where you need to be. Interstate batteries are America's #1 replacement brand with the factory fresh guarantee, and they're easy to find at good shops everywhere.
Cars or trucks, Interstate has you covered with long life and performance in our harsh desert climates with products like Megatron Plus. It carries a 30-month free replacement and a 6-year performance guarantee.
Interstate batteries. No battery lasts longer. Check them out at interstatebatteries.com.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and Bumper to Bumper Radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.